Okay, cool. Totally lost track of time there. Um, yeah, this was supposed to start 12 minutes ago. I completely lost track of time. I don't even know. I was just watching TV and I was like, oh crap, it's 8:40. I need to start the stream. So I ran down here and started this. Luckily I had everything already set up. So I'm just looking at my printers because I'm making donuts tomorrow. Well, I've already technically made donuts. I'm cutting and frying them tomorrow. So I designed some donut cutters. Those are going on the Mark III. And then the Mini is printing Fotis Mint's new bust from Patreon. So today I realized that I need a new little helping hands for my soldering loveliness. So I have I have it, but this one comes off. This is $4 on Amazon, so I didn't really expect it to stay good forever, but for what I've gotten out of it, it's working pretty nicely. But it's due for an upgrade. I'm not gonna say it's not. The glass fell off a long time ago. Definitely use some stuff. So today, first things first, I'm gonna solder the end stop. But I need the wire strippers. I will be back. It would be so nice if my 3D printer heated up as fast as my soldering iron does. But alas, it does not. Let me make sure the donut cutter goes down well this time. So yeah, so I'm gonna attach the wires to the soldering iron. So to the micro switch. So this is just the micro switch that it says to buy. And yeah, so I'm gonna solder a JST connector onto the end, and then we're gonna install it in here. I already went ahead and tapped these to M3 holes, and then for this mounting plate here, I think it was our first video, I installed this idler pulley. This is one of our in the first video I did the heat sets, so there's a heat set in here. In the second video I installed this idler pulley. And then before I started the stream, I did half of the frame, so I have half of the y-axis gantry, because I wanted to like suffer along and figure it out myself. So I have half of that. So this is that. I have a pulley on here, and I think I used M3, I want to say M3 by 8s for this, to attach the motor to the plate. Yeah, M3 by 8s. Then these are M3 by 10s, and I'm using M3 by 10s to secure something. I don't know. M3 by 10s go in here. So M3 by 10s are going to be securing the y-axis end stop, in which it goes like this, with the little lever sticking out towards the gap. So it's like this. So I don't think it matters which color which side gets red and which side gets black, but just to be safe, I'm going to check in on Carl's video so we don't screw this up. Let me just pull up the video. And yeah, so let's see. YouTube. I want to pull it up on the computer so I can get a better idea. My keyboard is very annoying, I know. Gotta love our Cherry MX switches. Knack 3D Designs. I am on the right YouTube channel? Yeah. Sometimes I use this computer for school, so it might have my school thing on here, and that is not what I want. There's a whole video dedicated to installing the y-axis end stop. Installing y-axis end stop. Let me make sure that we're not going to get any audio in the background. Okay. So tap the ends, yada yada. You solder black to position, what is that? Position 3? Position 1. You solder black to position 1 and red to position 3. Is that what I see here? Yeah, you solder red to position 3. So red to position 2, black to position 1. So when I say position 1 and position 2, so position 1 is where the lever is. Position 2 is where like this part is. So like the axis point or the point of rotation, and then 2 is where it is away. But he also cuts them really short. So I'm gonna cut it probably right around, I want to say there. And I'll strip the wires. So I don't want to cut it too short, but I also don't want to have like a lot of excess wire. So yeah, let me make sure the printer's working fine. That's something I've noticed with the PEI sticker build plates is that you have to, like every once in a while, probably like every 100 or so hours, you need to just like take some 2000 grit sandpaper and just sand that whole thing down or nothing will stick. Okay. So we want heat shrink that will be able to fit on, but we don't want heat shrink that will just, you know, like not shrink for the wire. So this is perfect. So I'll cut this in half. Cool. It's kind of funny. Whenever I'm soldering on this stream, I always, for some reason, bring up the idea of heat shrink guys versus, like, there's heat shrink guys and there's electrical tape guys, and I'm like, heat shrink is the way to go. Like, it looks professional. It's much neater. Yeah, heat shrink is the way to go. If anyone thinks otherwise, they're wrong. No, I'm kidding. But honestly, I want to hear heat shrink I use for like long-term situations. I feel like electrical tape is usually not long-term. Like, I use electrical tape, like this is in direct connection with the wires. Like electrical tape we use to cover up when we do not a soldering job, like the electrical jobs, we tape whatchamacallit. We cover the wire nuts with electrical tape because that's what you do. But that's a long-term situation, which kind of negates what I just said. So I don't know. God, he walks so heavy. Here, all the way through the floor. I'm so used to soldering now that it's not even a sweat anymore. So like when I'm building a printer and it requires me to solder, it's like Prusa's thing is like the whole, oh, we don't want you to have to solder. And I'm like, well, that's fine. Crud. This is why I always put the heat shrink on first. So we don't do stupid stuff like that. That's the only problem with heat shrink, is that you have to remember to put it on first. See if I still have enough residual solder to close that hole out, because I don't want to have to use extra. Hey, look at that. Let's just do a little bit of touch-up. Put a little bit right there. Cool. And done. Cool. Look at that, barely any solder. That's how we do a good job with our soldering irons. Now, some people criticize me for this, but I like to use my soldering iron to shrink my heat shrink. Some people like to use a flame. I like to just go on the end here. You just got to make sure you go in the direction of your end. You don't want to pull it away from the thing at the last second. You just got to make sure you don't leave it on too long. You want to just leave it there enough to melt your heat shrink, well, shrink your heat shrink, not enough to burn it as I'm burning it. And this is also why we use the butt, not the tip. Cool, and that is heat shrunken. So this is what I have here. So I soldered black to where the axis would be considered, and red to this end where the thing is. Axis is my physics brain talking, because it's the axis of rotation, which is true because that's where it happens. And you always want it to make contact with the furthest away, because that dun, dun, dun. And like this, I'm not really gonna. So, as I said, tap these to M3 and tap for M2. So there's only one end stop for the y-axis. It's kind of weird to think about this, of like what's y, what's x. It's weird, because usually when you think z, you don't think of belts. You think your gantry going up. I see what you did there. Perfectly chamfered the hole so it would still lay flat while I'm screwing this in. That's a smart choice right there. I assembled this the first time and it sucked. I'm gonna make it easier for people, so let me do that. There's definitely. So we're gonna just do that moderately tight. So now this is sitting right here, so that when the axis just goes down, it goes cloop and it hits that. So we're gonna move that out of the way, and let's make some room for the printer. I already installed half of it, as I said. I do half of it when there's two parts, so I know what I'm doing when it comes to the stream. Because I don't want to sit here like an idiot if I can avoid that. And I also found out that the whole point of these T-nuts is so you don't have to slide it all the way down the axis. You can just slide it in and it locks into place, which makes it 10,000 times easier to assemble this. And now, what Carl was saying about having these ends on, it is very important that you have those ends on, because you're just lining this up merely with that edge. You're lining it up with that edge, and then you're screwing it into place. I don't even like Star Wars. No one kill me over that. But like, these are, what are these? M3 by 8s? M5s by 8, I think. I don't know. I use them in... It's the same screws I've been using for T-nut insertions. We don't completely tighten it. We go one corner, just enough. Another corner, just enough. I can't wait. So, I'm probably going to stream again tomorrow. Well, I think I have to start applying the build tack onto this guy. Okay, now that that's there, we line that up and we tighten. So as I was saying, with this whole quarantine thing, I am cooking a lot of food. So tomorrow I'm making donuts. I'm printing donut cutters now that I just designed in Fusion. Just a couple of circles. I'll start... It's supposed to be a mock of like Krispy Kreme donuts because Krispy Kreme is closed right now. They're deemed non-essential, though in my opinion it's essential. These guys. These are heat sinks. What I'm going to do is we're going to attach one to the motor like I did over there. So I can cool the motors. So I remove two of these screws. Now, these also probably are too short even with these new heatsink mounts. So, where are my pliers? I can't get this out of here. Well, I'll just use a pick. There we go. Now the question is, can I just put this back in and thread it in? Probably not, because those were sitting in there. Yeah, no. Okay. So I have this. So here's our example screw. These are probably the ones that I use. They're ever so slightly longer. So these are M3 by 35s. So these should be long enough, because I don't think we have M3 by 40s in here. Yep, there we go. There's that. And there's that one. I'm probably gonna, I'm gonna redo that motor when I'm done with this one. So I did that. Now I need to grab one of my fans. I think I only ordered 3 of these. I can only find 3 in here. Three in the box of expensive technology, which makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing I did with this one. We're going to put the wire directly there. Now, I probably used, I want to say M3 by 20s. I honestly don't know how long these screws are, because I take them out of the bag. So I'm not really helping y'all that much. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to that one and put in the new heatsink, because my brain will not allow different heat sinks if I have 5. So I'm gonna go back to that one, install the heatsink, and my brain didn't realize that you can just straight up thread an M3 screw in here, literally into the heatsink. Carl was like, oh, I used 2 screws I pulled 2 screws from the motor, secured that there, and then I just put and then use 2 screws for the fan. And I'm like, there's only 2 holes. How are you using 2 more screws for the fan? And he's like, oh, you can just thread directly into the heatsink. And I'm like, what? And I was like, yeah. And then I just directly screwed into the heatsink and it worked. So I was like, okay. You can tell I've never dealt with a heatsink before besides CPU coolers. So, yeah. Now, obviously, there's a wrong way to install these fans. We're trying to blow constant air on them. And that means sticker side facing down against the aluminum heatsink. So I'm going to install this motor. Well, the motor's already installed. So those are M3x8s. I'm securing these with M3x10s. What I believe are M3x10s. Yeah, so I'm securing the motor with M3x10s. I used an M3x35 to pass through the aluminum heatsink into the motor. M3x10s to secure the endstop. Yes. Okay. Let's go. Don't grab it by that. I almost made that mistake. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You cannot do that. That would end very poorly for me. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this old heatsink out for one of the new ones so it matches across the whole thing. Because if I don't, my OCD will go wild. What are we at? We're at 30 minutes here. All I have to do is install the 6 screws on that side, slide the little linear guide on like I did right here, and it'll be all good. So it's not like these are any bit similar, the heat sinks. I'll show you when I pull this one off. Like, they're not similar at all. Yeah, I used M3x10 to secure this. So really, what I do is, in between my classes, so in school right now, with this whole scare thing and everything, the whole pandemic, my classes are all online. I'm in high school. So I have hour-long classes, and some of the work I'm being assigned doesn't take an hour. So I'm just going down and working on this guy. So through whatchamacallit, in my break time, when I finish a class early, I just come down here and I work on this, see what I can do. If it's like a mirrored thing like this, I'll do 2 of them. So here's what I mean by my OCD going wild. Here's the difference between these 2 heat sinks. It's very noticeable. So I'm doing a swap. But I'm just putting the new heatsink on, screwing the new screws in. Ah! So it looks like I used the M3x40s on here because I needed it to penetrate through the whole thing. So I'm going to put those back in the box. What do you use these screws for? I haven't used them at all yet, besides doing the heat sets. It makes me very annoyed if that was all their purpose was. 25s, M3x25s, M3x35s. M3x35s. And these are printed solid LDO motors, because LDO motors are awesome. Printed solid is close to me. Printed solid sells LDO motors. Obviously, the entire bill of materials can be found on the GitHub, which is linked in the video description. There you can find the bill of materials for the White Knight, in addition to the machine that I am building, the Squire. So yeah. So One of the reasons also that I'm doing this is to aid people in hopes that they can understand better through videos. These are all live. I might download them and cut them. It's not going to look pretty. I'm not going to try and make it look nice. I might cut it down just to aid people. I might take all these streams and break them down into a very quick time lapse of everything. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of this. I might just leave these up here as a little build along thing and allow people, like, if you're going to be building a Squire, which based on the group buy, I don't think many people are. And this has made me think about building a White Knight, but I'm probably not going to build a giant Infinite Z printer. I like the idea of the Infinite Z and everything, but I don't think I need something that huge. That's why I went with this machine in the first place. The big machine that I want to get is the alleged Prusa XL. That's my next thing. I'm very bad with saving money. My wants usually somehow I convince myself that they turn into a need, and then I buy them, and then yeah. So, like my want of a new computer turned into a need for a new computer because I wanted to be able to stream in 1080p for some reason. I don't know why I wanted that. I am like not even here. And you're seeing the live chat thing where it's saying like live chat will automatically connect. I'm just gonna to get rid of that message. Come and chat with us. Just so I get rid of that message there. Ugh. It's kind of annoying me seeing that yellow screen there. My whole goal of trying to share this on Twitter so that any of my followers, I really need to get that tool that allows it to just work. What is it? Like the screwdriver Allen keys, so I don't have to use this. It's not making my arm sore at all. There we go. Cool. I don't know why I attached these fans immediately. It probably would have been easier if I saved it for later so I don't have this whole wire jumble mess thing. Bob, yeah. So, when I was not weight equally distributed, so when I was looking, I was like, I have 3 pieces of extrusion left. One, where in the world does the other piece of extrusion go? It is for the electronics box. Did I get this yet? Yeah, a tiny bit. I kept dropping stuff on it, so I'm like, honestly surprised this thing isn't dented yet. But yeah. So here is our extrusion. So I'm just gonna do a little test fit in here, make sure she slides in good. Perfect. So we need 2 T-nuts in here, 4 T-nuts on the side. Where are my T-nuts? T-nuts, 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 T-nuts. Here are the T-nuts. Okay, so 1, and 2, 3, and 4, And then we'll slide 2 in top. 1 and 2. And then we'll just slot this into the extrusion, into the plastic part, and we'll play a little T-nut slide. Okay, let's make this a little bit easier and just push these down automatically. So I think these are pretty close to the bottom. God, he just wants to keep talking to me. Stop calling me. Woohoo! It's kind of weird. It's not going in straight. So we slide that in there, and that in there. And then more of these. These are the T-nut screws. I don't really have a name for them. I'm pretty sure they're M3x8s. I could probably find it in the whole bundle. Oh, here it is. Button head, yes, M5x8 screws. These are M5x8s. They are the perfect length. Well, I know they're M5 because I bought M5 T-nuts. That's what the bill of material says. And I need 200 of these. Well, I bought 200 of these, and I have 200 screws. So yeah, just pretty self-explanatory there. And it's like I could look at the bill of materials and correspond it myself. And it would be nice to help Carl with his count of screws, so people know exactly what they need. But that's why you kind of want to buy it in bulk. Because A, you probably save money doing it. B, here in the States, it's kind of hard to buy metric anything. So for Carl being in the States, I'm kind of surprised that this is metric screws. Woo. When you tell people always secure things like a crosshatch you go across and then across and then across and across, and they like don't understand why. I'm like, when you're attaching a tire, you just go around in a circle, like you always go across. It's just so you keep everything like centered. It's a natural thing to do. Like some people have never actually thought about that in their life. Like when you're building a computer, you want to put the CPU heatsink on in a crosshatch pattern so you get even amount of thermal paste across the entire CPU, so you get good conductivity with the thermal paste and it cools the CPU well. So you don't want a badly cooled CPU because then you're going to get thermal throttling and everything along those lines. You don't want that. It's not what you want. So, you got that. This totally might not be the best idea, but I'm doing it anyway because that's what I think is good. So I'm putting these on the extrusion, and I think I lost a ball bearing when I was putting it on. Because there's one, I found a ball bearing on the table today. And I was like, I wonder where that came from. And I was like, oh, it's probably the linear guide. And I was like, it's just one. I don't really think it matters all too much. Like, bearings lose them all the time. And they function perfectly fine. Cool. So yeah, what I got for you today. Attaching so the next step would be to attach these onto here. These are what guide everything. I don't know which one goes on which. It could be specific. It might not be. I probably am doing this wrong. But yeah, I don't really know. That's for a different one. But for right now, that's what this looks like. And yeah. I probably could do... Where is it? It's this. I could definitely do this step in which you like attach these guys onto here, but Carl isn't here, and I don't want to go off of like where everything is going based on this. Like obviously it's based on a height thing, because there's only at one point where this is going to make contact with this, and this is going to connect here, and they're going to be like, they have to be at a certain spot because the extrusion just won't fit. So like this extrusion has to be so far in here. This extrusion has to be so far in here. This has to be so far in here as to when these collide with each other, which would be right there. These are flush with each other like that. But I don't know, I probably could do it right now. Why don't I just leave it in place for right now? Because there's some weird things with this. So like this piece is there in two parts. Oh, this is getting heavy now. That piece is there in two parts. And like, I keep losing these parts. I just printed it. Here it is. That piece is there in two parts. This piece is here in two parts. So like this piece goes like this, down on here, and it's got like this groove here, which is probably for cable management and everything. And I put that on the wrong side, so yeah. Just don't really want to do this whole... So the left side is the tricky side. The left side is the one that's got all the... Oh, it's the cable mount hole, that's why. So this one's weird because it's got the cable mounting stuff going on for it. So there's something weird that I have to do with this and this. I actually did that perfectly. So that would go there. So like, I feel that there's something that I need to do with this, to which then the screws will pass through here. These are probably going to require a little bit thicker of a screw, maybe not. Probably still M3s by 8s. But like that goes there, this goes here, this piece has this piece here. It's a lot. And I might not want to do both of those. I might only want to do this for right now. I might want to do both of these. I don't know. But let me give you an idea of what that looks like. So it's this piece here, that piece there, that piece there. This piece would go... I want to do it like this, where I slot this piece in here. So these are the, I want to say 190 millimeters, but I could be wrong. These are the 2020 extrusions that you cut. I don't remember how long they're cut to, but they're cut. You go in there, and they slide down here, and then like that. And you just T-nut it in, screw it all together, and like that, and you're done. But yeah, I'll save that for another one, because I'm probably doing it right, but I don't want to... And that's solely to give it like rigidity and stuff. Rigidity and stuff. That was going to be a curse word, but we're going to try and keep this family friendly. Rigidity and stuff. So, it's still shaky, but that would be better when there's not actually me pushing on the extrusion. And I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be screwed in like... God, I just screwed myself, didn't I? There are some screws that have to thread into the bottom. Probably would have helped if Carl was here, but it's not. But yeah, I think I did it right. Looks fine to me. Here's my mouse. I am going to close the stream out now. This is the frame, pretty much. I'm going to need to remove these so I can put the rollers on, which I still need to order. But Midwest Steel Supply is closed because of coronavirus. COVID-19, sorry. So yeah, I guess I order that when I can. I might want to print the scales too, because I'm thinking about this, is that it's not going to look so nice with all the cables running around. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. Did some of this, did some of that, put the extrusion on. You know, it takes a lot of time. It's mostly me talking. But it takes a fair amount of time to do all of this. This is why we're doing it in many parts. And I guess maybe not. I won't be doing this all the way into the summer because of this whole coronavirus thing. But we got like a 50-minute stream today. Nice, quick, easy one. See you in the next one, guys.